Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. Hope all of you are having a fantastic Tuesday. Lots to talk about today. The Pittsburgh Steelers training camp at St. Vincent College 2025 is officially over. The team wrapping up practice just a little bit ago, their final practice at St. Vincent College. I'm sure players, staff, media personnel, pretty much everyone at St. Vincent College, they are racing their way out of SVC as we speak, going from Latrobe back to Pittsburgh or wherever that they live. They all get to sleep in their own beds tonight. I'm sure they are very happy about that. To start off the broadcast here in a moment, we will break down what happened at practice today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A bit of an injury scare relating to a very important player on this Steelers team. And we will also talk about, I'm sure a little bit later on in the program, the Cam Hayward saga. That situation is still lingering around. We now have a new understanding of the situation from one of the top national NFL insiders. We will also discuss, after we break down what went on in Latrobe today, how the Bucs did last night. Game 1 of their series against the Brewers did not go their way whatsoever last night. They have another game coming up again at 7:40 tonight. It is a Paul Skenes Day, so happy Paul Skenes Day to all of you who celebrate. All of that and much more coming up in the broadcast this evening. First thing is first, if you are new here to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to leave a like, share this live stream, and leave a comment in the comment section. I can pop those comments up on the screen just like this at a moment's notice so that we can interact that way. Also, I would appreciate it if you went out and gave me a follow on the following social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and X. Same username as here on YouTube at Steel City SR. And be sure to stay tuned later on tonight for a Tuesday edition of SCSR 60, the new video format that we've been bringing here on the channel, the daily news related to Pittsburgh sports in 60 seconds or less. Like I said, we are going to start off today talking about Pittsburgh Steelers training camp at St. Vincent College 2025 wrapping up today, the last practice, and the boys, they were in pads. Per usual, like a majority of the days at St. Vincent College, inside linebacker Peyton Wilson and starting right guard Mason McCormick, the first two Steelers players to go one last time down that hill from the dormitories to the practice fields. We did hear from a couple of players before practice began today. Aaron Rodgers spoke with the media before the final practice at Latrobe got underway today. He had a couple things to say. First off, this, I think is safe to say, will be his last training camp of his NFL career. Said so himself that this will probably be it. He said, quote, "I'll miss this experience. It's really special to make this walk down the hill every day and see the fans and the crowd. Even when it's a hot day like today, it's pretty special. I love that Rodgers has bought into the St. Vincent college environment where the Steelers have gone now for generations." He was kind of, you didn't know how this was going to work out with Rodgers. I mean, even back when he first signed with the Steelers, all of us were wondering, like, okay, I think to say Aaron Rodgers, bit of an enigma, like, even though he doesn't say so, he's seems like a finer things type of guy. You didn't know how he was going to react coming to St. Vincent College. All in all, I think he went through training camp without, too many complaints about how the whole process went there. I think his only, small complaint was, saying, "Oh, it's interesting that we have practices during the hottest part of the day." I don't know about that. Pretty much the only, mild complaint that he had. So I'm really happy that Rodgers, who is seemingly bought in 100% to this training camp and this team this year, loved going to Latrobe. Also, Rodgers talked about two other things. First off, said that regarding Thursday, if you don't know, today, last practice for the Steelers at St. Vincent College. They're off tomorrow, and then Thursday at Acrisure Stadium, they will have a closed to the public joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rodgers, again, restating today that he is excited and is looking forward to this joint practice, said that it is more beneficial to him and the team to have this joint practice over, participating in preseason games where both teams are running vanilla offenses and defenses. So he did have high praise for who the Steelers will be going against here in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Said about Todd Bowles, their head coach. Todd, he probably won't show everything, but he'll do some stuff to stress our protection and give us some film to work on. So looking forward. Again, there won't be any sort of video or photography, or maybe a little bit of, photos, but there won't be any videos of what goes on in this practice. Unlike Latrobe, when it's open to the public, we will have to rely on what we hear and see online from reporters and beat writers there on the ground. Last thing that Rodgers said today before practice was that he is still on the hunt for a new helmet. If you remember, he went through one helmet change. His helmet that he wore for years in Green Bay and with the Jets is now being outdated. Tried a new one at minicamp for the Steelers, back on the south side a couple months ago. Didn't like that one. Went back to a sort of like bigger bubble helmet for this training camp, and he said he does not like that one either. I said, quote, "It looks like a damn spaceship and it doesn't even fit," was complaining about maybe the helmet coming over his eyes a little bit, or the face mask being too big. So the Aaron Rodgers helmet saga is still ongoing. We thought we might have, had a finish to this thing, but nope. Rodgers still on the hunt for a helmet to wear this upcoming season. Hopefully he will find the helmet that he likes before week 1 with the New York Jets. Also speaking today before practice, another quarterback for the Steelers, Will Howard. He met with reporters before practice as well. Of course, Howard did not participate today. Videos from his interview, he is still wearing sort of that cast, splint, whatever you want to call it, to keep his pinky finger pretty much completely immobile. He called injuring his pinky finger on the quarterback snap exchange a freak accident. And also said, he would love the opportunity to get out there at some point in this preseason, but, quote, "it's killing him." So at least, we have somewhat of an update on him with his pinky still wearing the cast. And as you would expect, a rookie wanting to get a taste of NFL action, he wants to get out there so damn bad. As a matter of fact, Howard, he was out there on the practice field before practice got on their way with quarterback coach Tom Arth, and was running through some phantom practice plays. So, still involved in practice, still trying to be as sharp as he possibly can be if he does get the chance to get in a preseason game here before the regular season. I think safe to say we'll not see him this Saturday against the Buccaneers at home, but maybe there's still an outside shot that he will get some time in the final preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. A couple other injury updates before practice got on their way today. Alex Highsmith, he is on the right track to rejoining the team in some practice activities. Again, was off on a side field today. Seemed to be moving around quite well. We saw a video of him running around out there. He looks like whatever groin or hamstring injury was bothering him. He is soon going to be back from that. Good news there. However, like I said, was off on the side field. He did not participate in the team portion of practice today. Neither did a couple offensive linemen, backup center Ryan McCullum, and backup guard Spencer Anderson. Those two did not participate today, along with rookie offensive lineman Aiden Williams. Also not practicing today. Again, another day where this guy, you absolutely hate to see that he is not out there. Calvin Austin, still, I'm not even sure. Do we remember what his injury was? Was it a hamstring or groin, something like that? I don't know, but yeah, we're pushing now. I don't know, 12 days since we last seen Calvin Austin. You got to start thinking now. Yikes! Is he going to be ready for Week 1? And if he is he going to get up to speed with the offense? Building chemistry as quick as can be with Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? But starting to hitting the panic button on Calvin Austin, and if he's going to be available. Also, last person here of note who did not practice today, and this guy made quite a couple of good plays in the preseason game last weekend. Y.A. Black, rookie defensive lineman, 5th-round pick out of Iowa. He had a wrap around his right elbow bicep area. Not exactly sure what is hampering him there. Hopefully everything's good and that he will be all right to get back out there this upcoming Saturday for the preseason game. So that's something to keep an eye on. And yeah, a couple other guys who were out for practice either this week or last week that joined practice again today. Darius Slay back out there and practicing after a scare midway through practice yesterday. Sort of rolled his ankle, and I don't think he finished practice. He finished practice, was still out there on the sideline, but didn't take part in any team activities following that. And also Jalen Ramsey, finally, after a couple of days, just like Alex Highsmith on the second field, rejoined the team for full team drills and activities today. So for the first time in a while, all 3 starting corners for this ball team were out there: Ramsey, Slay, and Porter Jr. All 3 of those were pretty active today in 7 shots. For the final 7 shots of Steelers training camp at St. Vincent College 2025. Jaylen Warren got the offense on the board right away. Took the handoff from Aaron Rodgers, walked into the end zone untouched. From what I heard, offensive line made it very, very easy for him. Great blocking by them. Aaron Rodgers on the second rep was looking for DK Metcalf on a fade, but Joey Porter Jr. was in tight coverage, able to get the PBU right there. A very good and consistent, in my opinion, training camp for Joey Porter Jr. this year. Next, Aaron Rodgers looking to hit Darnell Washington on a fade route, but overwent Deshaun Elliott for the touchdown. 2-1 offense there. Rodgers to Washington. Hopefully more of that to come here soon. On the 4th play of 7 shots, I'm not sure if this one was counted or not, but 4th rep, Daryl Porter Jr. Appeared to have picked the ball off, but it fell between his legs, and Max Hurlman, who scored a touchdown on Saturday, picked it up. No one had any idea whether it was a touchdown or not, but I think they just wiped that play out completely. After that, Mason Rudolph, he came in, was looking for Brandon Johnson, but James Pierre beat Johnson on the slant, interception there. Brandon Johnson beat James Pierre on a slant for the touchdown. Pierre had an interception later in practice. Then Lou Nichols, rushing touchdown, made it 4-1. Skylar Thompson comes in, hit Lance McCutcheon in the flat for a touchdown, and then the drill wrapped up there with the offense getting the 5-1 win, even though it was probably 6-1. No one really knows what happened with that prior rep. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back in a quick moment. Let me take a break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back. Sorry about that. Thought I was hearing something outside my house, but we're all good. Anyways, back to Steelers training camp practice, wrapping up the final practice at St. Vincent College this year. Steelers offense, they win 7 shots by a score of 5-1, 6-1, 5-2. Not sure how they counted it today. I guess some controversy that they will take into the rest of this preseason. After that, some one-on-one drills and 7-on-7 occurred. Jalen Ramsey lined up a couple of times with DK Metcalf and got the better of him. Pretty much went stride for stride with Metcalf on a slant route. And from, things I'm hearing from different reporters, Ramsey, even though he did not practice much at all in this preseason, could be probably the most pivotal player in the Steelers defense this upcoming season. He has just looked that good, that dominant. Looks like, what is he, age 31 season now, will not, be slowing him down at all. So hopefully more good stuff to come from Jalen Ramsey once real ball gets underway. DK Metcalf as well. We just mentioned he got locked up by Jalen Ramsey a couple of times. He was also playing a little bit of defense, kind of, today. Steelers ran a couple of Oklahoma drills, I guess, to maybe train or, prepare offenses or their offensive players in case of a turnover to make the tackles. Metcalf getting a good clamp on Joey Porter Jr. in one drill. Maybe a little bit of fun being had by the team as well. That is all good. Also, Rock Taylor, we mentioned him, training camp darling this year. It seems like every single year you have one wide receiver that fans just latch onto and say, look at this guy, he's going to be a steal. Rock Taylor, people are thinking that he could be that this year. Made a couple of nice catches today, made 2 go ball snags, one of which was for a touchdown in 7-on-7. So hopefully, I'm going to say he didn't make any real big splashy plays on Saturday, but who knows? Maybe he can get on some of the coaches' radars again for training camp in this preseason game or even this joint practice coming up here in 2 days. After that, some individual drills. After those individual drills, Steelers then went into 11-on-11, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is where we had probably the scare of training camp. Right here, Aaron Rodgers today apparently had his foot or leg stepped on. There you see a picture of him getting wrapped up on the sideline. From what I read as to what happened, apparently Derek Harmon was pushing the pocket back into Aaron Rodgers, and someone, have no idea if it was Harmon, if it was someone else on defense, if it was an offensive lineman, but someone stepped on Rodgers' foot, and he came up a little bit ginger. Then I think stayed in there for one extra play, did a handoff, and then left the 11-on-11 drill a rep early. Assume Mason Rudolph came in after that. Was walking to the sideline, rubbed his calf, was down on a knee behind the team period, and then the trainers, as you see here, put an ice wrap on his right shin. He would then come back in a little bit later on to, finish out the 11-on-11 reps, so nothing too serious where he would miss the rest of practice. Mason Rudolph, during his time in there, threw a pass over the middle that was picked off by Cole Holcomb. Holcomb, underrated training camp for Cole Holcomb. It's really Patrick Queen who's been the linebacker getting all the INTs. Nice to see Holcomb show off some of his versatility. I think he's very underrated, and people forgot how good he was back before he got injured 2 years ago. A couple other notes from 11-on-11 today. Connor Hayward, he made a nice one-handed catch for a 25-yard gain from a pass from Mason Rudolph. I think even though it's us as fans, it's kind of hard to see Hayward's role or spot on this 53-man roster. I think he's going to make the team. Aaron Rodgers, during his pre-practice presser, said high things of Hayward said he's one of the smartest guys out there on the field. I assume when your starting quarterback is saying things like that about you, you're going to make the team. Then Rodgers was back in there for 11 on 11, was looking to hit Caleb Johnson in the flat, but the pass is wide. Rodgers, for the really the first time, was over animated at Caleb Johnson, brought him over to the side, was yelled at him, when it happened, brought him over to the side, was, telling him what to do. So I think that's just, Rodgers wanted to be a perfectionist with this. I don't think it's him, picking on the rookie or being an a-hole here. But, good to, it's better, again, training camp here, get that kind of stuff out of the way now than later. Also, one last note from 11 on 11, Broderick Jones today. Another strong day for him. He's now not just stacking days, but stacking weeks at training camp. Arrow trajecting up with him. We're not going to anoint him yet as a good left tackle for this team, but hey, good stuff, nonetheless here for Broderick Jones. After a sluggish start to training camp, he really came along in the final 2 weeks in Latrobe. Practice today at St. Vincent College, the final practice in Latrobe wrapped up with some red zone periods. Aaron Rodgers out there for 4 different scenarios. Rodgers on the first one, picked off by Jalen Ramsey, looked to be a drop of sorts by Kenny Gainwell, hit him in the hand or hands, and Ramsey capitalized. Again, Jalen, great showing today in his first practice back from being a little bit banged up. Another one, Deshaun Elliott met Jalen Warren in the hole and clogged that up there for little gain. Rodgers again threw one complete now to Kenneth Gainwell over the middle. And then the red zone period wrapped up with Rodgers, a throw of his going wide to Roman Wilson. So defense wins the red zone period. That a wrap for St. Vincent College 2025. All in all, very fun couple weeks there in Latrobe. Lots to talk about from those practices. Wrapping up practice today, Mike Tomlin spoke with the media, said that Aaron Rodgers getting stepped on was nothing of any significance and that he will be able to return come Thursday. He didn't miss a rep in practice today. And also relating to injuries to Calvin Austin and Jonnu Smith, he said they are both considered day-to-day. Hopefully they are back sooner rather than later. That a wrap of training camp at St. Vincent College 2025. Real quick, going to go to the comments section here. THP, welcome back, THP. So we get spaceship helmets and Cam maybe sitting out in games, which is BS. 0 players want to miss these huge game checks. Yeah, I agreed. I mean, Rodgers, I don't care if he goes out there, in the biggest helmet ever. If he's got us, go through a little bit of discomfort here with the helmet, then so be it. I don't think that will be any excuse for him to miss playing time or anything like that. Cam Hayward, though, we're going to talk about him here in a little bit in the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment of the show. Adam Schefter chimed in on what he is hearing and, thinking about the Hayward situation. It's crazy that Hayward all of a sudden now, with this whole money situation that just popped up, around this time last week, that Cam is now like, hey, I legitimately will miss game checks. And I don't really, I don't know. I'd like to think that regardless, Cam will be out there week 1, but still insane. What kind of deal does Cam want? I don't even think he wants a new deal. I just think he wants, some of the money from next year's portion of his contract moved up to this year to make a couple extra bucks this year in case, he were to get cut next off season. I think it's something. It seems simple, doesn't it? It seems simple that the Steelers could do that. However, they're just They haven't done it. Maybe Cam grew a little frustrated of it. Anyways, more on that coming up here in a little bit. We are going to move fairly quickly through the stream here tonight. Let's real quick hop in just a couple of minutes over to some baseball. The Pittsburgh Pirates last night, they played game one of their series against the Milwaukee Brewers up there in Wisconsin, and ugly. I don't even know what to say. Hideous. Hideous, actually, is a better word for that. Kind of the perfect descriptor for the entire season that the Pirates have had up to this point. Disgusting one as well. Andrew Heaney, disgusting. That is exactly what the beginning of his outing last night was. Through, I think, around 30 pitches in the first inning. Gave up a run. Was able, luckily, to get out of a bases-loaded jam. Joey Bart, the lone positive of the night, had his second home run of the season. His first home run since the beginning of April. Tied it up at 1. And I'm not going to get into all the details here. Rest of the game, it was ugly. Heaney got hit around some more. The final score ended up being 7-1. And it's bad when even the Pirates' actual social media pages do not, post the final score. The Brewers posted it, though, 7-1. They are now 30 games above 500 and on a 10-game winning streak. And you have to wonder, if any of this could have been avoided if 6+ years ago the Pirates, instead of hiring Ben Cherington, instead hired Matt Arnold, who is the general manager of the Brewers, and the Brewers, year in, year out, better in every single aspect of baseball operations and on-field performance than the Pirates. Just absolutely sickening that the Brewers, they could have been the Pirates. At least, the Brewers on their worst day is better than this Pirates team on their best day. Just disgusting. One extra thing here on Andrew Heaney. Again, I have no idea why he is still on this Pirates pitching staff. I like the guy. He had an okay beginning to the year, but not trading him at the deadline was absolutely moronic. And now, predictably, he is falling apart. Pirates pitching, by the way, in August, up to this point, 12 days into August, they have a 6.45 ERA and have allowed 71 runs in 91 innings. Opposing batters are batting nearly 300 against them. Outstanding there. Anyways, we'll be watching again tonight the Pirates. Not, thinking that they are going to maybe pull one out here against the Brewers, but because it is a Paul Skenes day, like I mentioned. Skenes, by the way, fresh off of being in the top 10 of ESPN's top 50 players in baseball right now. He is number 6 on the top 50 list. He is behind Bobby Witt, who is number 5. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, at 4. Tarek Skubal, reigning Cy Young pitcher in the American League, at number 3. Shohei Ohtani at number 2, and Aaron Judge at number 1. Maybe the Pirates, who knows if they would be better if they had any of those guys there above Skenes. Probably not. Lineup tonight for the Bucks: Spencer Horwitz leads off at first base. Nick Gonzalez batting second at second base. Brian Reynolds in right field. O'Neal Cruz in center. Andrew McCutchen DHs. Jack Sawinski in left field. Jared Triolo at shortstop. Henry Davis catches, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third base. First pitch again is at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Real quick, back to the comments here. THP. Brew Crew have won 10 in a row. Skenes gave up 7 hits last game and got the W. Yeah, the Brewers indeed are on a 10-game win streak, and it's hilarious how they are. Again, 10-game win streak, 30 games above 500. They have the general manager that the Pirates could have hired over Ben Cherington 6+ years ago, and they are doing pretty much whatever the Pirates try to do and are horrible at, the Brewers, they are good at. Who knows? Who knew that Quinn Priester would be a good major league pitcher? He was only the Pirates, one of the Pirates' top ranked pitchers for years, and he flames out after a year and a half. Now he's in Milwaukee, made his way up there after a short stint with the Red Sox. I think Priester himself is on a 10-game, win streak when he starts. Also, another reason why the Brewers are on such a streak right now, they took a flyer on a first baseman from the Chicago White Sox, Andrew Vaughn. He's, all of a sudden become David Ortiz up there in Milwaukee and has been outstanding. So just, typical for the Pirates that they are, no matter what they do, it's the wrong thing. And no matter what the Brewers do, it's the right thing. I got no answers for them anymore. It's best not to try to figure out those answers in order to keep your sanity. Excuse me here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna quick slide that window shut. The rain all of a sudden is coming down. Hang on, ladies and gentlemen. I will be right back. I'm going to make sure all the windows are closed here at my place with this rain coming here. Be right back. All right, and we're back. That was crazy. The rain just came down like a monsoon there for about 30 seconds, and then it stopped. I think everything's, good. Got a, few windows open. They're now shut. Anyways, going to continue on here in a moment. Moving on a nice pace here through the stream tonight. Pittsburgh Steelers, they are done with their training camp at St. Vincent College. Now it is on to a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Thursday and another preseason game, their lone preseason game this Saturday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are the Pittsburgh Pirates. Going to get into some extra Pittsburgh sports news here in a second. In the meantime, once again, if you are new here to the channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I'm live again. Also, leave a like, share, and comment on this live stream. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much. Taking a quick stroll here through Twitter, see if we have anything new going on, any new pieces of information. Seeing nothing here. Got a couple of roster moves down in the Pirates farm system here. Looks like the Bradenton Marauders are getting a couple of new players. Who really cares? Seeing another video today of George Pickens at Cowboys training camp, making a high point catch in tight coverage with the corner. And here come the Cowboys fans. Look at this. This dude's going to be awesome. I don't know why the hell the Steelers got rid of him. You will understand in time why the Steelers got rid of George Pickens. Continuing on now with some extra Pittsburgh sports news. We are going to go back once again into some football news. Adam Schefter, ESPN NFL insider, was on NFL Live this afternoon, and he dropped in his 2 cents about the Cam Hayward situation, saying that the two sides, the Steelers and Hayward, have not bridged any of their differences, and it seems like the Steelers don't want to pay him right now. Looks like this is even more ugly than we thought, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, this really has turned this whole preseason vibe almost 180. I mean, you still got, good hopes for the teams when they get to the regular season, but it looked like we were going to go for a drama-free preseason for the first time in forever with the Steelers. And here we are, Cam Hayward out of left field requesting more money. I will say, though, I'm not going to, keep repeating myself every time something comes up here with Cam. I understand both sides. I see some points where he's coming from. I see some points where the Steelers are coming from and not wanting to pay him here. One thing that is, pretty concerning, though, is that fans, especially, they have really dug their heels in on this situation, anti-Cam, that is. Usually when it comes to contract disputes between players and organization, 9 times out of 10, just because the player is universally loved, the fans will back the player, say, hey, pay him, what he wants. In this case, though, fans pretty upset with Cam. I think, they see it kind of like the Steelers did. You accepted this contract last year. You signed an extension last year. You could have played last season on the final year of your deal if you really, wanted to bet on yourself and then get what you wanted this offseason. Yeah, just fans really, really frustrated. And also it doesn't help when Cam himself, if you remember a couple of months ago when the whole Aaron Rodgers will he signed saga was coming to a climax, Hayward on his podcast said, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. Now here he is a couple months later saying, I think there are different options out there that could reflect that when he was asked if he will be willing to sit out regular season games. Just really one of the most likable players on this team and really the top leader for this team. Yeah, in a week's time, how fans think of him has taken a very significant hit. So we will see how the saga continues on here now that the team is out of St. Vincent College. Regardless, don't expect to see Cam at all this preseason, even if he wasn't doing a whole contract hold-in situation. I would say, don't play him anyways. Ultimately, I think that this is going to either end with him getting a couple, extra $1 million from next year's half of the deal slid up to this year, or even though he says it, I'm kind of, torn on this. I don't think he will sit out a regular season game. But, we'll see. Lots of twists and turns in this situation has already happened, and I'm sure more will be coming in due time. Moving on to some other members of the Steelers here. I believe this was yesterday, the Pivot podcast featuring former Steelers safety Ryan Clark. They made an appearance at St. Vincent College. Really a good bit of media personalities came to SVC this summer for Steelers training camp. I wonder why. I guess, bringing in high-profile players like Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and Jalen Ramsey will do that to a team. Anyways, at least Mike Tomlin and Jalen Ramsey hopped on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and his crew. Tomlin, in his interview with the Pivot, did confirm that going back to the NFL draft, when we all were wondering and speculating, should the Steelers take a first-round pick or quarterback here? Is Rodgers really going to sign? How long is this going to play out? Tomlin said, when asked if he knew if something, if Rodgers was indeed eventually going to come, Tomlin did say, "You're right, I knew something." So cool to see that. Tomlin also, he hears the fans' criticism of him and, his playoff failures and the team's playoff failures in recent years. He says still that he is as motivated as ever here to win with this team, saying these dudes, their careers are short. I owe them urgency. I don't have a longevity mentality when I get out of bed in the morning. Great to hear that Tomlin is as motivated as ever, and quite honestly, this is a make or break year for him and this team. More Tomlin, though. You have one of the most exciting, craziest, massive addition off seasons in the franchise's history. The pressure to win, and not only just make the playoffs, but to win a couple playoff games, they have skyrocketed. One guy who's looking to help significantly in getting those couple of playoffs wins, Jalen Ramsey. He joined the podcast not too long after that. Said when he was coming to the Steelers, there was no gray area with the team. He knows what he's there to do. He also said that he made sure that the Steelers were going to allow him to bounce around in the secondary, outside, nickel, safety. He wanted that. Really, I thought, he was more of a, I'll play these other positions, but they're not really my forte. I'm more of a go on the outside and lock up a team's number one type of player. But give Ramsey kudos. He wanted to make sure that he could sort of be that joker or that queen on the chessboard when he came over here to Pittsburgh. So that was good to see. Also, I think just like how I mentioned earlier, Aaron Rodgers buying into the Steelers team and Steelers training camp, Ramsey has done that as well, even to the point where he said he got rid of his Rolls Royce and bought a Ram truck to prepare for the cold and the winter weather here in Western Pennsylvania that will most surely come this upcoming season. Before I continue on here, THP in the comments again, talking about the Dallas Cowboys. We can't stop the run. We can't run, and we lack depth. 8 or 9 win team here in Dallas. Max, irony is, in Dallas, Micah said last year he wanted to wait because the cap is going up this year. He said he wanted to be paid last year. Media is against Jerry. But people don't understand it's a two-way street. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, ain't it? How when the players will say the right thing one year, and then when it goes opposite of what they think will happen, they say like, oh, hey, I want more money now. Crazy. Players and agents know what works and pin fan bases against owners. Usually Cam, very likable, but surprised he's got heat. But I understand, literally Cam Hayward would have been the last, one of the last guys that I would have picked to all of a sudden become scorned by the fan base this offseason. I thought that was, I still think it's, kind of crazy that he's doing this. Are you really? He's already collected his bonus, by the way. He already made like a little over $13 million or $12 million, somewhere in that range already by being on the roster in March here. And now he wants, a little bit of extra cheddar on top of it. This should have been something, that you would have pounded the table to get done as soon as the season was over, honestly. So who knows? Steelers have to finish second, win 10 games, but I don't know. 10 games. Think you're probably looking around that area again for Steelers when it comes to regular season wins. Probably looking at a 10-7 team, maybe 11-6. Best case scenario, who knows? That depends on Rodgers' health. I will say, though, if Rodgers does remain healthy through the season, then that will be a better situation for the Steelers heading into playoffs. I think out of all the times the Steelers have made the playoffs post Big Ben during this long, decade now streak of going playoff winless in the playoffs, Rodgers, even at 41, will be the best opportunity that the Steelers have of moving past that first round of the postseason. Okay, going to continue on here with some more extra Pittsburgh sports news. Staying here with football for just 2 extra news stories here. a tradition that us fans, we always, for fun, and giggles, like to keep an eye on this. Last night, final night at St. Vincent College for Steelers players. They, of course, had their home run derby there at the baseball field right next to the football fields. The winner of the Pittsburgh Steelers 2025 home run derby a couple years ago, it was a Pitt guy, and Kenny Pickett. The Pitt players take the crown once again. Kicker Ben Sauls wins the home run derby this year at Latrobe. I'm a little shocked that it was Sauls, too. I'm not sure how much of a baseball background he's had in his life, but you're talking about some other guys like Jack Sawyer, and I'm sure if he was healthy, Will Howard. Those two guys just played in a charity softball game with Cam Hayward. A little shocked that, Sawyer didn't win, but congratulations to Ben Sauls there. Also, the final football news story of the day, the Cleveland Browns. Things just keep on getting better and better for them. Of course, they're riding real high right now on their preseason high horse with the way Shedeur Sanders participated in that preseason. I think, Sanders probably just going to be an anomaly for him, and he'll, come back down to some sort of reality. Also, I find it very annoying that, the Cleveland media, they fell into the trap that us here in Pittsburgh have fallen into a couple of times since Big Ben retired. They think Shedeur is, their savior here. They're saying, oh, we got one. Super Bowl, here we come. Super Browns. Not going to happen. Probably a part of the reason why that will not happen is that some Browns players still cannot stay out of some legal trouble. The latest, Myles Garrett, I think for the 8th time in his career, or at least that's what I heard on 93.7 The Fan today, on Saturday night this past weekend, was cited for going 100 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone when the team landed in Charlotte. So they were down in Charlotte for a preseason game, and Myles Garrett, did he get Carvana or Enterprise rent-a-car here? Like, what car was he in on a road trip that, thought, hey, I should, go way over the speed limit here on the team road trip? Who knows? But, yeah, that was, that happened. So, more, even though with the Browns having a little bit of good times right now, it always comes with the bad. Wrapping up the extra Pittsburgh sports news segment of the broadcast here today, some a pair here of extra Penguins news. General Manager Kyle Dubas of the Penguins was on the Cam and Strick podcast recently, and he had high praise for Evgeny Malkin, saying that he is the most underrated player maybe to ever play hockey. I, quite frankly, agree with him. I mean, sure, you've had a ton of good Batman Robin scenarios over the history of the National Hockey League, but Malkin, I think, us here in Pittsburgh, we see Malkin and Crosby at times as equals. Crosby maybe a slight bit better, but I think a lot of, just casual run-of-the-mill hockey fans, they do not understand that Evgeny Malkin, if you were to put him at any point in his career on 20, maybe 25 other National Hockey League teams, he would be the number one center. Probably more, honestly. He was that damn good, even when, it should have been evident enough when, Sidney Crosby, back when he was dealing with concussion issues and pretty much any other time he was having injury, you would see Evgeny Malkin very appropriately step up and turn into an absolute one-man Russian wrecking machine. And I agree with Dubas wholeheartedly there that that Gino is the most underrated player in NHL history. He doesn't get the recognition that he deserves, but still, though, should be a first ballot Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. Last extra Pittsburgh sports news story here of the day. We do have a congratulations to give out today. This came out this morning. A Stanley Cup champion with the Penguins has officially retired. Defenseman Chad Ruhwedel retiring and calling it a career after 369 career NHL games. The official statement from Chad Ruhwedel today: playing in the NHL has been a dream come true. I'm incredibly grateful to the Buffalo Sabres, Pittsburgh Penguins, and New York Rangers organizations for giving me the opportunity to live that dream. While there have been countless unforgettable moments on the ice, it's the relationships and friendships built along the way that I will cherish most. To my family, teammates, coaches, fans, and countless others who supported me, thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. Well said there by Chad Ruhwedel. Honestly, I understand here that, you know, we're always going to celebrate the you know, big stars when they hang up the skates one day, but it's, you know, even more impressive in cases like Chad Ruhwedel. Was undrafted, started his career up in Buffalo, and then spent 8 years in Pittsburgh, won the Cup in the 2016-2017 season. But to go undrafted and then churn out a 13-year NHL career and get a Cup ring, very, very impressive. Couldn't be happier for Ruhwedel. During, you know, specifically his time with the Pens, 326 games, had 47 points, was a -7, which, you know, even though he's in the minus of the plus minus there, very impressive over an 8-year stint on a lot of good teams as, you know, a bottom pairing defenseman. But yeah, couldn't be happier for Ruhwedel. Congratulations, Chad, on a retirement. You were always, you know, one of those sentimental fan favorites. You know, we always loved those, you know, fourth line grinders that really put a nice bow, you know, on those Stanley Cup championship winning teams. So thank you, Chad. Congratulations on a damn successful career. Real quick, going to go back to the comments section here real quick. And THP in the comments again. I will say I think the Steelers can beat the Bengals. Bengals cannot stop anyone. Steelers, my only question is, can they run the ball consistently and Rodgers just do enough? To answer that, Rodgers, assuming that he stays healthy and assuming that the arm is as alive and well as we have seen it up to this point in training camp, I do think he will be good enough to get the Steelers in a better position than what they were last year. I do agree that the Steelers have a good chance to beat the Bengals both times they meet up. You know, you mentioned right there the Bengals defense. They cannot, you know, stop anyone right now. That is just a terrible defense. Very inexperienced too. Who knows still what's going to go down with the Trey Hendrickson situation. Shamar Stewart finally showed up, but he's really scary to me, you know, having 4 sacks or whatever it was in his college career. So, yeah, Bengals cannot stop anyone. Also, another reason why Steelers have a good shot against the Bengals is that they are, you know, the Steelers, they've done okay. They've had situations where Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have eaten up in the past. They've also had situations in the past where they did a damn good job against the pass. If you remember a couple of years ago, first game of the year, Steelers in Cincinnati against the Bengals, they picked off Burrow like 3, 4, maybe even 5 times. And that was outstanding. That was a shock. I think the Steelers, you know, on, you know, at least a half and half occasion here, when they shut down Burrow and his weapons, I'd like to think that they have a higher likability of doing that in both games this year with Jalen Ramsey, Joey Jr., and Darius Slay. Because I think if you're looking in that game, I think, you know, just trying to think, you know, many months away here from the Steelers and Bengals meeting, Jalen, I would have him travel with Jamar and put Joey with T. Higgins, and then have Darius Slay flip in there and have Brandon Echols man the slot. Or if you want to go the old Bill Belichick route when it comes to Steelers versus Bengals, put Joey with a safety at all times, doubling up Jamar Chase, and then have either Slay or Jalen Ramsey eliminate T. Higgins one-on-one. I don't know. They are in a good spot. Can they run the ball? I'm not necessarily as worried about them running the ball as I am them pass protecting, but I will say, if the offensive line, the starters, they do what they did on Saturday against the Jaguars, they had their starters on defense, and the offensive line of the Steelers, they held up quite well. If Aaron Rodgers is going to have all the time in the world to pass, just like Mason Rudolph did last weekend, it'll be a great season for 8 back there in the pocket. My dude was 13 for 23 and a 6-yard average. I didn't watch the game, but that was what? Yeah, talking about Shedeur. Yeah, Cleveland very much overhyping him. And you know what? It's also hilarious. It's that whole, I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about, the human resources meme, where it's like this real, like, handsome Jack dude goes up to a female coworker and says, "Hey, you're looking really good today." And she goes, "Oh, thanks." And then another unattractive dude comes up and he says, "Hey, you're looking really nice today." And she's like, "You get away from me." Skylar Thompson had a better stat line than Shedeur did in the preseason game, and nobody's talking about Skylar Thompson that way. It's all the hype. It's all the brand with Shedeur and doing my watch thing and whatever. Miles, not long ago, was involved in a wreck speeding that left him injured years ago. Yeah, that was one of the first things that, set that whole thing off. I'm really perplexed by Myles Garrett. I mean, probably in the entirety of the AFC North, the least likable player. If you went to every single Steeler fan and asked, you have the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns, out of all those teams combined, which player do you hate the most out of those 3 teams? I think a majority would say Myles Garrett, not because of the Mason Rudolph. You can just go through a list here. The Mason Rudolph head swinging incident or helmet swinging incident, what he said about Rudolph after the fact, pretty much calling him a racist, which I'm going to believe Mike Tomlin when Tomlin immediately comes out and says, "I know people in the Browns organization that would have told me immediately if Mason said something. He didn't." So I'm going to believe Tomlin there. The whole graveyard thing, I'm going to put Ben Roethlisberger in the graveyard. Aaron Rodgers is going there. You speed like a moron. You talk crap like a moron, trying to talk yourself up at every given opportunity, which really shows your insecurity that you're not the guy. Just Myles Garrett, he is he is a trip. Story of Spittin' Chicklets talking about Malkin, about getting pulled over, and giving a cop $10K cash was hilarious because they do that in Russia. I did not hear about that story from Spitting Chicklets. I'll have to go back and find that one. I do love, Wit, Biz, Grinelli, the boys like that. That is an awesome podcast. My favorite one still, and I'll when I'm bored and have nothing to watch on YouTube, I'll still throw on the Sid interview or the Sid golf outing with Nathan McKenna. Yeah, those guys are hilarious. I do not doubt that. Malkin must have learned that fast cars are a good thing from Jaromir Jagr, because if you remember when Jaromir Jagr, back when he was a rookie and came over to Pittsburgh, he got a sports car upon getting to America and was saying, "It can go 120 if I want." So in his Porsche as a young guy, yeah. Malk Gino in a Porsche seems like a perfect vehicle couple for him. Malkin is the man. Yep, indeed. People don't realize it's really hard to get paid to play for 8 seasons. That's wild. Congratulations. Yeah, Chad Ruedel. to go undrafted. And I'm sure he had a period there where he clawed his way up in the, minors. Then had, I don't even think he played like 40 games over 4 years with the Sabres, comes to Pittsburgh, finds a, nice bottom defensive pairing or, seventh defenseman role with the Pens, and he churns out a career of that. Congratulations to him. I respect the grind. I honestly do. Never understood the Miles and Mason crap. WTF happened because Pouncey had Mason's back. I just think that's Pounce. Just, Pounce is that dude. He was just, standing up for his guy. I also think that the Steelers lost that game, and that was like one of the final plays of the ball game. So Pounce maybe taking out his frustrations of losing the game, but Pounce, he is that dude, and he is, on site. I ride for my guy type guy. So I love that from Pounce. People forget that wild stuff. No one heard the N-word, supposedly. And the reason, why I believe, Tomlin is that Tomlin very well affiliated with a lot of, people inside the NFL. Also, wasn't it, kind of weird in the time that Miles said Mason called him something like a couple of days after the fact? If Mason did say something and Miles, being the, very much outgoing, boisterous person he is, he would have said, if it was true, he would have said it would have happened immediately. I'm not saying, Mason didn't say anything or did say anything like that. I'm just saying the timing there was off. And also Tomlin, standing up for his quarterback there. And I believe Tomlin when he says that he knows a ton of people and would have known about that before anyone else. Yager interview is also, Yager, he is just, hilarious guy. He never lost his charm. So did Gino. Like, it's honestly crazy how much, how deja vu it is having Mario and Yager back in the day. And then this generation had Sid and Gino. You had the superstar, arguably greatest of all time Canadian going with a European, charismatic, but pretty much unstoppable when they turned it on player in Yager and Malkin. Just very similar. It's just eerily similar how those situations were. It's crazy. We are, even though we're going through a rebuild right now with the Pens, very, very fortunate that we got to experience the things that we have as Penguins fans. Same thing with the Steelers, 6 Super Bowls. Very fortunate there. The only team that we cannot say that about in Pittsburgh, unfortunately, is the Bucks. Because, 1979, a long-ass time ago. And it looks like we will not be getting back to those days anytime soon. Hopefully something changes quickly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, taking one last scroll here through Twitter before logging off for the evening. Pretty sure we're not going to see too much news between now and Thursday's joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Matter of fact, don't think I'm going to hear anything for the rest of the night from really any Steelers beat writer because I'm sure all of them just say, all right, training camp's over. We're getting the heck out of Dodge. We've had enough of these dormitories. So anyways, I think that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it as always. One final time, please like, share, and leave a comment on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, be sure to give me a follow on the other social media platforms listed here, Facebook, Instagram, and X at Steel City SR. And, of course, come back later tonight for a new edition of Steel City, or SCSR 60. That will be out here momentarily later on this evening. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night. We'll be back here tomorrow around the same time, 5:30, recap whatever little bit of news comes out tomorrow. And then Thursday, we will have a good bit to talk about with the Steelers' joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. See you back here tomorrow. Peace.